My name is Mike Garlia.
And I'm Steve Jones.
When Steps, the Backstreet Boys and Westlife dominated the pop charts, we decided to write a script.
Based on our experiences as holiday entertainers.
It's sat in an attic for the last 16 years. How terrible is the writing? How awful will the acting be?
Only you can help us decide.
This is Bad Scripts.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Bad Scripts. I'm joined, as normal, by the effervescent Mr. Mike Garlia. Good evening, Mike.
Oh, hello, my wonderful friend Steve. I can't believe this is it, the last episode.
I know.
Episode unlucky for some, number 13.
Well,
or lucky for some, I don't know.
It depending on how much you enjoy the podcast, it could go either way.
I feel lost. I feel lost already, even without finishing the episode. I feel lost right now.
Yeah, that's probably because you know this has become such a part of our lives for the last 15 weeks or something. We've got obviously 13 episodes, 2 specials under our hat, so we've kind of got used to doing this now. What are we going to do with ourselves once this is all over?
Well, I think there'll be some more specials on the way, and during those specials we can talk about what our plans are. We definitely do have a plan, but right now, you and I, as it stands, have no idea how this is actually going to end. So I don't know about you. It's kind of bittersweet. I'm really eager to understand how this ends. And I know this might sound crazy considering we wrote it, and as we've said it a lot about, it was so long ago. I'm actually looking forward to seeing how it ends, but also a little bit sad as well. I don't know how you're feeling.
Very much the same way. And like we said last episode, I thought by now I'd remember what happened, but I have not got a clue. So, it's going to be as much of a surprise to me as it is to all the listeners out there.
Well, I have a theory about that. I have a theory why you don't remember.
Go on, why is that?
Because this is the stuff that nightmares are made of.
Is this going to be the biggest damp squib that has ever happened? I don't think we'd have done it like that.
If this is anticlimactic, Steve, I don't know what we're going to do. So I think we'll have to do something to drum it up. Let's hope our young selves really brought it home. You know, when I think about those 80s movies and the 90s movies, it was always the downbeat ones. And you remember, like, the competition type movies, you got your Rocky that always looked like he wasn't going to quite win, but then he pulls it back at the end. You've got your a lot of sports movies where that happens. But the one thing that comes to mind is, you remember Sister Act 2? My family used to love this film. The classic Sister Act 2, where they're a terrible quiet all the way through, and then they kind of get good, and then they come out with this massive, brilliant end where it makes you want to watch it, or in this case, listen to it all over again. I'm going for the Sister Act 2 podcast right now.
Whoopee is all I can say. Whoopee.
Whoopee.
So, I think the term you were thinking about there was underdog. We are the perpetual underdogs. So, big shout out to the underground indie podcast massive out there. Hope everyone's
So what you're saying is we are the underdog independent podcast. Is that what you're saying there?
In not so many words, because the way things are going, I might not be able to articulate that into an actual sentence. But yes, that is the gist of it.
Yeah, we are the UIPC. That's what we are.
There's no need to swear about
it. Well, we've done enough of that throughout the series, so.
And yeah, I've listened back to the last episode because I thought that was pretty dark, and we swore a lot compared to all the other episodes, and I mean, I'm not adverse to swear words. I do enjoy a good swear, but we F-bombed a huge amount in the last episode. Just suddenly in the script, it arrived like a freight train, just right through the middle of things. So I'm not quite sure where the pace of that came from.
Yeah, well, this is true, Steve. But in the episode before, you also dropped something worse than that, which you, in the edit, beeped out, and I shall not repeat. All you hear is my reaction, and it's quickly sidelined in order to move on. So you owe quite a lot of money in that jar, my friend.
I think the term poppycock is perfectly acceptable in my book.
So, Steve, before we do the recap, any theories on where you think this is going? And because I think we should both share this and then say whether we're right or not.
See, I don't know, and I kind of don't want to guess because I want to enjoy it and engage in it, and I want to be shocked. And I think if I overthink it now, then I'm not gonna get that same thrill from finding out what's gonna happen. So I think.
Okay, well, let me ask you a different question then.
Okay,
let me ask you a different question. In the interest of the last episode, I'm sure our listeners will remember that there was a big fight set up in the last one. Three thugs set about robbing. Dan got involved. Dan was the calming voice of it all, and Adam went a bit batshit crazy, and then lamented on that afterwards, which I think normal people would do. But he really got stuck in there to this guy. Yeah. My question to you, Steve, is: have you ever been in a fight, and what's the best or worst one you've ever been in?
Not many. There's been a couple, but not many. Over the years, I was bullied at school, and a kid followed me home one day and was calling me names
all the way home.
Yeah,
all the way
literally
home,
all the way home. Followed me.
Came into your living room as well.
He didn't come into my house, but he followed me home. But let's make light of my bullying. That'll be good listening for everybody out there. And to the point where I literally he grabbed me and pushed my face, and I did the archetypal saw red. Literally, it was like the beginning of the Bond movie. When the gun fires and you see the blood come there. It was like that red mist came over me, and I just leant over and cracked him on the bridge of the nose. And we wore proper school uniforms, ties, blazers, the whole shebang. His nose exploded down the front of his school shirt. I got hauled into the head's office the next day because I'd apparently unprovokingly attacked this poor boy who'd bullied me incessantly for several years beforehand. But once I opened up and explained the situation, my former teacher said to me, well, that violence doesn't solve anything, but I think the undertone of what he was saying was good on you. So I think that's really, it's not a very interesting or funny story, but that's kind of the most physical scrap I've probably ever had. I did have a bit of a bust up with a guy in a rehearsal room once who annoyed me and was pissing me off somewhat. And told him not to fuck with me. And I think that's the only time that me and you ever had crosswords, Mike. Is it not?
Wait, that was me?
I think you were in a playful mood, and I wasn't, and you got a bit handsy. When I say handsy, I mean.
Okay, so I do remember this situation actually, Steve, because I remember what you said, and I remember taking a bit of a pause and a beat and thinking, should I indeed fuck with you at this moment in time, and what would happen? So if you remember, and I think it was you used to get those big cardboard tubes that was lots of paper was wrapped around it, or you'd have linoleum, it was like a big tube. Whereas if you almost like a didgeridoo, And I remember we were all a bit hungover. I think we were rehearsing for a Power Rangers show actually.
We were.
And I may or may not have still been drunk at that moment in time.
That doesn't sound like
So I
you at all.
remember. No, see, I remember that day, and I remember another cast member came up to me and said, "You are absolutely steaming. If you put this cream on your head, this lotion on your head, it will help sober you up." And I said, "Well, okay, let's do it." And then she slapped this kind of well, it looked like Vaseline, but it wasn't, and she put it all over my forehead, and my eyes started streaming, and I started sneezing quite a lot, and I was literally pouring. And what she'd done, she put witch hazel on my forehead. But not a small amount, and I mean an amount that would kill a rhinoceros, but and I think she was probably punishing me for how I was treating you. But anyway, I was walking around with this big tube, this big cardboard tube, very long, maybe about 8 feet long, and doing the didgeridoo. And I kept walking up to you, Steve, and trying to talk to you and getting right in your ear, sticking it right up to your head and stuff like that. And you grabbed the side of it and you threw it down, shocking me, innocent me, and you went, "Don't fuck with me." And I saw that look in your eyes and that look in your face, and I went, "Okay, I won't." And I just walked off. I walked off, and then I got slapped down with witch hazel. So I do remember that, Teddy.
but what you got to remember is I was stone cold sober in a rehearsal room, just trying to get through the day, and this guy who was still drunk was just tapping me with this tube and in my ear, and it wasn't for like 30 seconds. We must have been a good half an hour in at that point. So I think that's when finally it broke inside me. And just be thankful that it didn't end up inserted into you somewhere, and that was
No, but I mean, I've always managed to keep it together. I think one of the earliest fights I remember, and I'm a northerner. I came from the northern part of England. Many different places. Not that my accent would give it away, but we first moved to this small, tiny village, and I remember my first day being at school. I was roughly about 13 or 14 years old.
That was your first day at school. Wow, that explains a lot.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, thank you. I was brought up on terrestrial television, which was only 4 channels back then, and I think that I did a pretty good job of learning to write with a blackboard. No, I don't know where I'm going with that.
And some chalk.
Anyway, so
that's all right. You're just giving your age away now. You're writing on your slate.
No, I wrote on an abacus.
How do you do that?
My first, exactly. It's a beautiful mind. But I remember my first day at this school that we moved to, and I'd grown up in this quite closed-off close and stuff. And we went to a high school when we were like 11. Then we moved to this very tiny village, and everyone knew each other. And I was literally the smallest kid in my class. I was very, very, very short compared to everybody else, even despite the fact that I'd already been to high school. And then I went to a middle school, and I remember sitting down at the table and meeting this kid next to this guy. And he introduced himself as Wanker, which I thought was his name. And I went, okay. And the teacher, she was like, meet us, and my sister and me were there. And then he said, my name's Wanker. So I called him Wanker the entire day. That turned out I misheard what he actually said. His name wasn't really Wanker at all. I just heard Wanker and called him Wanker.
What was his name?
And he beat the living bejesus. His nickname was Wadder, right? But because he had such a broad Yorkshire accent, I heard Wanker, which I think is an honest mistake. And
Who calls the kid Wanker?
Well, I don't know. That's what I was trying to be polite and like, hey Wanker, can I get the pens? Wanker, you coming for lunch? Wanker, what are you doing? Wanker, what are you doing after school today? So I was very innocent. I never thought anything of it. Anyway, as part of our route home from school, we used to go through this police station, and there was these nice gardens, and he came up behind me and forced me to the ground very quickly, actually, and beat the living bejesus out of me. And ever since then, I've always repeated the name when someone's told me to make sure I get it right, lest I call someone a wanker for a full day without meaning to.
And let that be a lesson to everybody out there. Don't call somebody a wanker, even if you think that's what you heard.
So, Wada, if you're out there, I'm sorry.
Remember, kids, don't be a wadder. Right. I think we have to be quite succinct with this and get into the thing, because this could be a very important episode. We want to get into the meat and the bones of it. So let's have a really, really quick recap and see where we are. So let's start off with the softer side of things. We've had the barbecue. That kind of came to nothing. We don't quite know what that was about with the dodgy meat. That kind of happened and went away. Dan suddenly became everybody's counsel and was quite happy to dish out the advice and be the calming element.
I disagree. I think Dan became Donna's little puppet as she meddled.
But the way he was with Adam, he calmed him down in the fighting situation. He held him back from going after Sam. I felt he'd grown, unbelievably in character.
He's changed. He's not the guy we knew. He's changed.
Is it the relationship that's changed him? Is that what you're saying? But one other person who's changed, Adam. My word, this guy was the knight in shining armor, and now he's a bit of a dickhead, as far as I can tell from his actions.
Wow. So, Steve, I mean, I've recruited you to think the same way as me. Is he a dickhead, or is he just more rounded and more human? Does he redeem himself in the last few scenes? Can he redeem himself? That's the question.
Yeah, is there any way back from that kind of behaviour? Because, like we said, his anger issues, I mean, nobody else saw the way he was with Kelly. Only Kelly and him witnessed the anger there. So she knows. But then Sam saw just how angry he got. And, I reflected on this. This hate crime, essentially, that happened when Robin was attacked, purely just for his sexuality, which, we're all in complete agreement is totally abhorrent, but happens. Even now, in our more woke times, it still happens now, and it's a terrible thing. But does that still justify what he did in terms of the amount of violence he dished out on this guy, who was an attacker, was an aggressor, let's not forget, and ganged up with two other people onto Robin? There's an element that says it's not just his anger at the situation with Sam that's got to him, but at the fact that his friend was victimized and attacked in such a vicious way that's driven him to that. Is there an element of that says, actually, he deeply cares for his friend and didn't want him hurt? And he's
yes, but let's not forget the same thug turns on Sam, and he squares up to Sam as well and pushes her into a wall. And I think, there's an element of that, and we don't know Adam's background. We don't know if he's been through anything in particular, because the thug was, he did turn on Sam incidentally,
exactly,
and and he yes, he lost his temper, and yes, he did more than he should do. Yes, he's upset Sam, but at the same time, if he hadn't have done that, what could have happened?
Exactly, and let's say nobody's perfect. As much as we created Adam to be this, like we said, knight at the beginning, it was good to see him have his flaws as well, because he felt more of a person, and I felt more, although I didn't agree with his actions, I felt more in tune with him, understanding that he was flawed in the last few episodes.
Well, let's see where he gets today, and let's see how everything pans out. So, Steve, the question is, will we find out the fate of Camp Holidays in this episode?
I don't know, but you know what? For the very last time, let's dive in. Exterior, the beach. It's a nice, calm, sunny day. Sam is sat on the sand reading a book. She's wearing a jumper and seems quite happy on her own. Adam silently walks behind her, He looks nervous as he thinks about what he's going to say.
Nice day.
Sam jumps up a little startled, sees it's Adam, and sits back, reading her book.
I didn't mean to make you jump.
Sam ignores him.
Are we still friends?
Sam says nothing.
Talk to me!
Sam makes no reaction. Adam nods his head.
Okay. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to sit right there and talk.
Adam sits down next to Sam.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Everything's happened so quickly. I mean, it all just spiraled out of control. I've thought about you. About me. About me and you. About what happened. I've made some stupid mistakes. I'm paying for them. Sam, I've ruined a great friendship.
Adam shakes his head and begins fumbling in the sand. I don't know what he's fumbling
With what? What's he fumbling with?
Oh, I don't know. Anything's possible these days. There is silence for a moment. Sam speaks without looking up. Why? Adam looks at Sam. Why did you go so mad? I mean, I understand you were protecting me, but you could have killed him.
I know.
If Dan hadn't stopped you, could you have stopped yourself?
I don't know.
You scared me. I'm still scared. I don't know if I could ever trust you not to do that again.
I won't. I won't do that again.
How do you know?
I wasn't myself. I had a real crappy day. The whole Kelly thing, and everyone seemed so keen to get involved. And you being upset, I couldn't take it all. When he hurt you, I just snapped. I promise you, I could never hurt you or anyone else again.
Sam looks up and whispers, I know.
I just know that being friends with you is a hell of a lot better than not.
Sam smiles. I can handle friends.
Yeah, me too.
Adam looks out to the sea and nudges Sam softly. She moves herself and leans against him while continuing to read her book. The sun begins to set. Well, what a cop-out there! She's gone. No, I don't want to talk to you. No, I don't want to talk to you. I'm really sorry. Oh, okay, let's be friends.
She even calls him a madman. She's like, you were a madman. What happened? I think she likes it. I think there's a part of her that thinks, oh, hello.
I think she, at the moment, she's wetter than an otter's pocket. That's
Oh no! So, Steve, I'm trying to be really dramatic. I can't look at you, by the way. I'm having to look down rather than reading these lines.
I can't do these. And it's not, and you know what, when I listen back, it sounds like we're giggling about the lines being sexual or romantic. It isn't that. It's looking at each other when we do it that makes it difficult. Do you know what I mean? I can't quite express how I can't look at you, because as soon as you get that glint in your eye, that's it, I'm done. I can't.
So let's just put this into context in terms of Adam's apology, right? So what he's really saying is he had a really crappy day. He got laid last night, smacked the shit out of someone tomorrow, and he's sorry. That's really it, isn't it?
I'm sorry I was a crazy bastard that I slept with another woman, even though we weren't kind of together, so it was okay, but I really liked you. And yeah, then I just beat some guy up. But yeah, apparently that's how.
But let's be friends.
Roll. Let's just be friends.
Let's be friends. And she's like, Yeah, I'll snuggle into you as the sun goes down and carry on reading. What book is she reading? Come on, let's guess. What book is Sam reading?
The Art of War.
No. Oh, I think it's a classic. I think it's like Wuthering Heights or
Mills and Boone. She's on.
Yeah,
you know what?
she's on.
If it had been out back then, she was probably on 50 Shades of Grey. But
I knew you were going to say that. No, that's too cliched. Cliched.
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone would have been out about that time.
Little Women. She's reading Little Women. She's hearing all about Joanna finding her, her Hindu independence.
A Hindu independence. This is a version I've not heard.
No, I couldn't get it out. I'm sorry. Everyone at home, I'm suffering from hay fever at the moment, so I'm sorry about that. But her independence. She's reading Joanna, Little Women. That's what she's reading right now.
I want to read the version with the Hindu independence. That sounds much more interesting.
I'll tell you what, forget all of that. Let's go with Pride and Prejudice and Adam is Mr. Darcy.
Interior, Mark's office. All the managers are now sat in Mark's office. These include Eddie, Karen, Mark, Judy, Wayne, and Alan. Alan is at the front with everyone facing him. He looks a little unstable and is unshaven.
So there it is. Now you know. The board have decided to sell. They don't... They don't want any part in the resort anymore. If we don't find a buyer by January the 31st, Camp Holidays will be no more. It won't open next season. Selling Camp Holidays is the last resort, but a necessary one if there is to be any future.
Karen is crying. Alan looks at her.
Do you want a tissue? Is that a question or a statement? I don't know what that is in the script.
There is no question mark in the statement. It must be a statement. Do you want tissue?
Do you want a tissue?
No. I've been working here since I was old enough to scrape chewing gum off floors. Before that, I was coming here on holiday with my dear old dad who's dead. It can't close. It just can't. Alan walks to Karen and takes her hand. You okay there, Mike?
I'm sorry. What's she saying? She's scraping chewing gum off the floor.
The thing is, she wasn't even getting paid for that. She just did that for a bit of fun.
Wait, was her dad chewing gum? Is that what she's saying? Okay. It's all right, love. We all feel the same. Go on. Let it out.
Karen begins roaring very loudly. Alan is patting her hand.
There.
Wayne rolls his eyes. For fuck's sake. Does that mean we're all out of a job? Said Eddie.
Unless a buyer can be found, then yes. It just hasn't worked. We had the dream, but we failed. I failed.
Don't blame yourself. What's the chance of the resort selling then?
Who knows? It's not officially on the market yet. Not until the end of the season.
So, what happens to us? We're managers. Are we being made redundant?
I'm sure some arrangements... I'm sure some arrangements will be made. The board send their apologies.
Oh, well, then, apologies. I feel so much better now.
Is that all, Alan? That's it. Everyone back to work then, and let's make these last few days a damn good one. We've still got a holiday resort to run.
They all get up and leave. Alan stops Mark.
Look, Mark, I just wanted to thank you for the loyalty you've shown. If this place does close down, you'll still have a job. There's a position available at our lap dancing clubs. The money's a bit better, and there's plenty to look at. Thanks, Alan, but I'll see what happens here first. I'll keep it open for you.
Is Mark going to start lap dancing? What's...
Well, I'm not sure what he's offering him there. I think
It does seem like, come and work for me, lap dancing. I mean, I'm not quite sure what...
No, I think it's a really good observation. There's a position available at our lap dancing clubs, and the money's a bit better. What is Alan suggesting for Mark here?
You have to take it in small notes, tucked into your waistband, but it's better than you're on now.
And the clientele, there's plenty to look at with the clientele. So maybe he's got Mark a bit wrong there. I don't know.
Who knows? Only time will tell. So, I mean...
So, there's again... What kind of company are we dealing with here that suddenly there's another revelation that they own lap dancing clubs?
But that's not a revelation. That was in episode 1. They talk about the fact that they own those and they own all these other businesses that are really successful, and they're revamping Camp Holidays because it is the one that's not performing. They remember?
Oh, you're so good, Steve, to find that connection. Yes. I must have. It must have slipped my mind completely. Do they offer staff discounts?
That will be the lube. That will be the lube that helped it slip. So Karen is devastated by this news. Yeah, absolutely devastated.
Man, I cannot hold it together when you play Karen. I'm so sorry. We need more of Karen. She is hilarious. I just every time you. She just brings brevity to the scene, I think.
She is a bit of fun, isn't she? And I think she's the external world's connection. She's our Sue Pollard, isn't she? Do you know what I mean? She's like our connection to the outside world, the trier. God loves a trier. Right.
So there we go. January the 31st is the deadline for the camp to be bought.
And I just looked at our next scene. It's the end of season party. We're there. Its time has come. So let's crack on and find out what happens. Interior, main venue. The end of season party is now in full swing. All employees are there, and it's fancy dress. Wayne is dressed as Homer Simpson. Mark is John Wayne. Judy is Marilyn Monroe. Dan is Noel Gallagher. Donna is a Hooters girl.
What?
Kelly is a nun. Robin and Pete are Frankenfurter and Rocky from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Karen is a pint of Guinness. Sam is Charlie Chaplin. Adam is James Bond.
Boo!
Eddie is an old lady. The remaining dancers are Hugh Hefner's Bunny Girls, and Alan is a clown. Now, I'm not sure whether that's his costume or just a character description.
So for people listening, I have some slight discrepancies in my script because I also have Daisy is Tank Girl in my script.
Ooh, you see, Daisy's not appearing in mine, so maybe, just maybe, there's going to be something missing here. Maybe we made a last minute alteration and put her back in there because we've not really seen Daisy much in this. In the latter parts of the script, so maybe that's what
we haven't really seen her at all. But Donna is the Hooters girl, Kelly's a nun. They're doing fancy dress against type.
Yeah,
I think that's right. Yeah.
Well, let's find out what happens then. Wayne is DJ for the night, and Eddie is doing the lighting. Mark walks to Judy and hands her a drink.
You okay? Drunk. You? Yeah, it's a good party. What will you do next? Dunno. What about you? I might take some time off. Oh yeah? Graham's coming back. Your husband? The one and only. What happened to the cruise ship gig? It's fine, but we're not getting any younger. We want to start a family. Oh, that's great. Best of luck to the both of you.
I just interrupt there. I thought Judy was way too old to be having kids, but apparently not.
She's just husky.
She's
She's
just a
husky.
bit. She's just been on the fags, hasn't she? She's been smoking.
She doesn't smoke. We know that from the last episode. She doesn't. You know, Wayne sparked up and she didn't. She's just got that lovely smoky voice.
Ah, okay. Well,
she's a West End dancer. She's a professional West End dancer.
Okay. Peter and Robin are dancing together and having a good time. Dan is stood with Donna beside the dance floor. Every time I look at you, God, I just want to do things that could get me into a lot of trouble. You look so fine, baby. Behave, you. The best comes to those who wait. Oh, don't keep me waiting too long. They kiss passionately. Donna feels something that quite literally rises. What?
Oh, God. God, you're doing this to yourself as well.
Dan? What? I can't help it if the big boy wants to play. You need to cool down, and I have to go to the little girl's room. Can I come? No! Donna walks away, leaving Dan to cool down. Robin approaches him. Dan looks up. I never thanked you properly. What for? For saving me from a beating. Hey, don't worry about it. Well, anyway, thanks. Robin offers his hand. Dan looks at it. Friends? Dan looks at the hand, goes to shake it, and gives Robin a big hug. When they separate, Dan looks a little surprised. You're all right, for a puff. Thanks. Don't mean I'm gay or nothing. Robin laughs. So Dan hasn't really learned anything. He's still using these terms, and
that's not the bit I pull out. I think.
Sorry, what?
Well, as if you know, have you ever known a situation in your life, Steve, where someone has offered you their hand and you've just stared at it for a bit, like you're analysing it, like, do I want to touch it or not?
It depends. It wasn't a hand, but yeah. But yeah, I mean, if they've got a dirty hand, you don't know whether you want to shake it. You've just seen them scratching their nuts or something. You're thinking twice about shaking that hand, aren't you? Especially if they just sniff.
So where is this going, right? Donna was so shy and so quiet. In the last episode, she literally offers Dan something more as long as he gets involved to try and fix Adam and Sam's relationship. And then in this one, Dan is then going... He's doing a bit of a raunchy talk to her and all that kind of stuff. You know, like, I'm telling you, how is this going to end with them? It's going to end with pregnancy. They're going to run off to Dubai because they're going to make a mistake.
But is it a mistake? I mean, I think that Donna and Dan's kids would be adorable.
Yeah,
You don't sound convinced. You don't sound convinced. Moving on. Interior, girls' toilets. Sam is washing her hands at the sinks as Donna walks over. Donna begins to wash her hands also. I'm glad you made it up with Adam. Oh, me too. So you're friends again? Yeah. Think you could be any more? I don't know. What about you and Dan? Are you going to stay together? Yeah. He's coming to mine over Christmas. Oh, that's great. I think I love him. I know he can be a bit tactless sometimes, but he makes me laugh and he treats me right, and I'm really pleased for you.
We go together like shang-a-lang-a-lang-a, ding-a-ding-ding-ding. Honestly, is that how this is ending?
If they do go off in a car that takes off and flies into the sky, we'll know we've definitely plagiarized. We've definitely plagiarized the.
Wait, are we
script.
trying to say that Dan is Danny from Greece? Is that what we're trying to say? And Donna is Sandy.
Danny,
Is that what we're saying right now? I never made that connection until now, but it sounds like that's where that's going.
He was a douche, and he's cleaned up his act for her. Who knows? Interior main venue. Kelly walks up to Dan.
On your own, Dan.
Nah, not like you.
No need to be rude.
I wasn't being rude. Telling you to fuck off is being rude. Kelly walks off. Spots Wayne, who is tucking into the buffet.
Hungry?
Starved.
I like a man with an appetite.
Oh, yeah? Well, I've got plenty of that.
Hey, you'll have to show me.
Wayne looks at Kelly and puts his plate down.
Is that your Jeep parked outside?
We leave Kelly and Wayne and go back to Dan, who is now stood with Adam.
Donna looks great.
Hey, don't get any ideas, mate. They both laugh. So, are you going to talk to her or what?
Who?
For fuck's sake, Adam. You're not that thick, so don't act it.
Oh, mate, I don't want to push it.
What? What's there to push? We're at the end of the season. There's no more chances. Not after tonight.
I think we're just friends. It was never meant to be.
Shut up, dickwad. She's crazy about you, and you're sat here pissing around with me.
Peer pressure.
Right, be a man. Go and tell her how you feel and shut the fuck up and forget the whole thing. You just want to be centre of attention all the time.
All right.
They both laugh as Donna turns up and snogs Dan. Adam looks around the room and spots Sam on the dance floor, grooving with the bunny girls. Further down the room, Karen stumbles over to Eddie. Here, Eddie, what's up with Vlad? Eddie looks around and sees Vladimir in a full body cast. His mouth and eyes are the only visible parts of his body. He's perched against a wall with a long straw going into a cocktail. I thought you'd heard. No, I didn't. What happened? Has he had an accident? Yeah, a couple of days ago. He was walking the tightrope and he fell off, breaking all but 3 bones in his body. Oh, do you think he'll be all right? Probably. Karen walks over to Vladimir. You all right, Vlad? Vlad, who cannot turn his head, replies, No problem. We go back over to Mark, who has just been joined by Alan.
Good party? Great. Have you got the keys for your office? Yeah, of course.
Mark reaches into his pocket and hands Alan the keys.
Not leaving so soon, I hope. No. Just thought I'd make a phone call. Check in with the wife. All right.
Alan leaves. Exterior, outside main venue. Wayne's Jeep is parked just outside the fire escape. The windows are steamed up and the van is rocking steadily from side to side. Like a really cheap version of Titanic. So, Kelly's like, I have run out of options here, so I'm gonna shag the assistant manager. Wow.
It's good to see that Wayne is once again eating his food, and Kelly doesn't seem very perplexed about that, and off she goes, on to the next victim.
Well, let's just hope that he's wiped the ketchup off his face, chin, and shirt before this scene.
Steve, we know he hasn't. He's never done it in any of the scene. He just lets it all sit there. He's not going to do it now. And I think Kelly might like that, to be honest with you.
She's going to suck the ketchup out of his beard, if he has one, that is. Interior main venue. Mark climbs the stage and signals for the music to be cut. It stops, and Mark takes the mic.
Can I have everyone's attention, please? Don't worry, the music will be back on shortly. But as a few you know, it's tradition for the entertainment manager to say a few words. It's been an odd season. We've had a big change here at camp. Some things have worked and some things haven't. But I want to thank each and every one of you here tonight for your hard work, loyalty and dedication.
The door opens loudly. In walks a smiling Wayne and a slightly embarrassed Kelly. Kelly wipes the corners of her mouth.
Nice of you to join us, Wayne.
Everybody is staring at the two. Wayne still looks smug.
Anyway, thanks a lot and have a great night.
Everyone claps and cheers loudly. The music resumes. Interior, Mark's office. The door swings open and Alan walks in. The room is dark and he makes his way to the desk and sits. After sitting for a few seconds, he reaches into his bag and pulls out
a revolver.
I did for a minute when I was reading it think, holy moly, I'm sure we didn't get that dark. Definitely not. After sitting for a few seconds, he reaches into his bag and pulls out another bottle of whiskey. He pours half a glass full and begins swigging at it. Interior, main venue. Everyone is on the dance floor except Adam, who is stood at one end of the room, and Sam, who is sat at the other. Adam is contemplating going over. He's fidgeting with his glass.
Fuck it.
Adam downs his entire drink, breathes deeply, and walks over to Sam. She smiles as he reaches her. Adam stutters.
Sam, I just... I mean, I wanted to... I really...
Adam stops talking and looks at the floor. He smiles. Do you want to dance? Adam looks up.
Love to.
Sam takes Adam by the hand and walks him to the dance floor. They find an empty space and begin dancing. The song is of a medium pace. They both keep their distance and dance a little stiffly. After a few seconds...
Well, describe a stiffly dance. Describe it. So,
maybe
no, don't show me. Describe it so people can hear it. I mean, you're doing it. Like, can you just
what I was
describe
doing
it?
was doing it so that I could come up with the words I want. So imagine Peter Crouch doing his robot. Is all I could think.
What the most done that doing a robot? Right, okay, fair enough.
And that's just Sam. That's not Adam.
Okay, what song's playing though?
It's I don't know. It's of medium pace. What is medium pace? Or maybe it's
Sweet Like Chocolate Boy
or Mambo Number 5.
Is that medium pace?
Yeah.
So they're doing it's right. Okay, so we've got that. They're doing the robot to Mambo Number 5 stiffly.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely.
Okay. Good.
After a few seconds, Sam leans in close to Adam, and they dance closely. To Mambo Number 5. Adam is...
I think we're going to Dirty Dancing now. That is Mambo Number 5, but Dirty Dancing style.
Yeah.
Oh, just a little bit longer.
Hey! Adam is still very nervous and is trying to find the courage to tell her. He stops her from dancing.
Sam.
She stops and looks at Adam.
Wait, Adam's still dressed as Bond. Do I do this in a Sean Connery-esque? Is that how Adam would do it?
I would avoid doing any more Scottish accent if possible. Don't force yourself into it.
Sham. I was thinking. All right, okay. I was thinking.
What about?
Us. Being friends.
Go on.
I don't think I can do it.
Sam steps back, looking shocked and confused. Adam leans forward and takes her hand. I don't understand.
I'm in love with you.
Sam looks shocked. Oh.
It just happened. That very first night on the beach to now. If I didn't tell you, I probably regret it.
Why? Why didn't you tell me earlier?
Fear.
Fear?
Of rejection and losing a friend.
Sam steps closer to Adam. It's a shame you didn't say something earlier. Adam looks a little disheartened.
Why?
Sam smiles cheekily. Because it would have saved all this hassle. Adam looks into Sam's eyes. He lifts his hand up and slowly takes off her bowler hat. Her hair falls into a natural position. He pulls her in and kisses her. They kiss passionately. As they do, Adam opens his eyes, looks up and spots Dan and Donna smiling back. Dan nods and subtly winks at Adam. He closes his eyes and holds Sam tighter. Hey, gonna get me a bit of that? Donna and Dan kiss. Wayne sees this, as does Kelly. He looks at her and gestures for a kiss.
That was worth the wait.
Sam laughs. Come on, we're going.
Where to?
Guess. They both leave the dance floor hand in hand. Kelly shouts after them.
Oh yeah, not so little Miss Sweet now, are you? Just remember who had him first. His damaged goods!
They turn around and Sam faces Kelly. Give it up, Kelly. Sam turns to leave.
Yeah, go on, you fucking cow.
Sam turns round and, completely out of character, swings her right fist and punches Kelly square in the face, knocking her to the floor. Everyone cheers. Adam and Sam continue walking. Adam looks amazed and they leave. Colin and Gary are behind the bar, dressed as salt and pepper pots. See, I told you, them CampCoats are right weirdos.
Too right, mate. Too right.
Interior, Mark's office. It's still dark in the office. The only light is from the TV, which is playing. Alan is now very drunk. Alan is now watching the old Camp Holidays advertisement video. He's laughing quietly.
Well, look at the time. It's 8 o'clock already. Time to put the tired little tykes to bed.
Alan is still laughing as the narration continues to play in the background. His laugh slowly turns into a sob, which then turns into full-blown crying fit. There's a blackout, and the last thing we hear is the narration.
See you next year, here at Camp Holidays.
The end. Well, Mike, it's over. The last resort. And we don't know what's going to happen. We just
There is a
cliffhanger.
We know that they could be a buyer, but there may not be a buyer.
And so let's go over a few of these bits before we have to wrap up, because it's been a bumper one tonight, and there's been a lot go on. We've had some great conversations, but what are your thoughts on the Sam and Adam thing then? So they've gone off into the distance again at the end, and it was almost a little bit of role reversal. It was a bit like Dirty Dancing. Nobody puts Adam in a corner, and Kelly goes and gets a smack in the face from Sam. Does that have the impact?
I think that was the only way it could possibly go. Actually, I think if Kelly hadn't said anything, she just left it. I mean, bearing in mind she just bonked Wayne.
I don't think
with food all over his chin.
Yeah, I'm not sure it went that far, but from the wiping the corners of her mouth, I don't think that was to get rid of the ketchup. Let's just say that.
Well, just his excess saliva, maybe. I don't know. But she's just been with it. I don't know why she's antagonizing that, knowing obviously Kelly has feelings for Adam, but she just can't express it properly. And I think Adam's had a bit of an easy way out. He's got what he wanted. He got the girl, and Sam. That's probably the first reaction we've had from Sam, where she smacks Kelly. You see, given how Kelly is, though, I think Kelly would have absolutely ripped her apart in reality. I think Kelly would have,
But I don't know, is she all mouth and no trousers? It could be one of those situations where,
Well, we know she's not wearing trousers most of the time, but...
Yeah, well, she is, or knee pads, I don't know. But she basically... I think she's shocked by it. And we don't know how strong Sam is. Sam, she might have a history of Ultimate Fighting champion. We don't know. This is the whole point. She's kept quiet, but we don't know where she comes from and who these people are in their past. So she's clobbered her one, and she's meant it. And I think she shocked her because Kelly's not used to being stood up to by Sam. She's walked her all over her all year. And two, Sam could have a real right hook on her. So who knows?
This is true. My two observations, though, especially for the end of season party, is the two characters that never speak or are never really referred to that much is Pete and Daisy. And Daisy was so prominent in the first episode and second episode. I was a bit disappointed to not see her turn up again.
Yeah, I think that's probably why we had her referenced in the sort of, I won't call it a second draft because we didn't really do that, but that why we've popped her in visually to make sure that people are aware she's still there and she's still doing things. But I think that's probably something that would have to be incorporated more into that scene if you were to rewrite it now, or you were to do a second draft. I think you would bring that in. You would bring Vlad in more. We would have probably extended out what went on with the meat. We still don't know what went on with the meat. Where's Bob?
We don't.
Is Bob on security at the door, or what's happening? So a few questions.
I think Bob's been fired for his ineptitude, but also Vladimir is in a full body cast. That seems pretty dramatic and serious. It's we don't quite know what happened, but again, the only words Vlad says in the entire series is
"No problem."
No problem.
See,
that's all he ever says. So
I almost thought that we were going to, and I mean, I know that he's married to Natalia, but I always thought he had a moment with Karen there where, there was a connection. I may have read it wrong, but it just felt like it, and the other character missing from this entire episode, who was there for the whole season from pretty much halfway right to the end, Turdsky. We didn't see Turdsky again.
Turdsky never has another appearance, and guess who else, Steve?
Go on.
Moo the cow.
I know, and I'm sad about that. But who knows? If they do manage to stay open, then who'd have thought it? Maybe Moo would be centre stage the next year. We just don't.
I think we should bring back Moo the cow and Willie the walrus in a bit of a hybrid thing between the two of them as well. But I guess the question is, because we're now at the end of the script, and we'll cover some of these things off in in the next special that we do, where we kind of unpick some of this stuff and we have a bit more time to talk about it. But it's really for the listeners, is this where you saw it going? Do you feel satiated with the climax of this particular series? Is there something you would have liked to have happened that you didn't see happen? Are you disappointed with the way it turned out? And we would love to hear some of your views, and we will answer those in the next special.
Absolutely. And so the burning question and the title of the podcast is, bad script? ? We want to know what you think. Like you said, Mike, we'll do another special, and I think we can pick through the whole of the script. And if anybody has any more questions or comments that they want to make, we'd be more than happy to include those as well. And there's another big question that we need to ask people is, do you want to know more? Do you want to see more? Should there be a season 2 of Bad Scripts, of The Last Resort? Because we wrote this so long ago, we don't even know if we could write it now. If we were to write a season 2, would you want to hear it? Let us know, please. You can catch us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on the street if you see us walking around. So we really would like to hear your feedback on this. Let us know, should we do season 2? Shall we write it? And we will be at your beck and call. If you want it to happen, if there's enough call for it, we had a little chat and we'd be up for it. So let us know what you think.
Don't be needy, Steve. Pull it back a little.
Sorry.
Pull it back.
I'm sorry. Get carried away.
Well, thank you all for listening. That is the end of season 1 of Last Resort. We can't wait to hear your views and thoughts, which we'll cover in our next special next week. Until then,
take care. And remember, if life gives you burgers, make sure they've got some onions. Bad Scripts was written and performed by Mike Garlia and Steve Jones, a Beach Tide production.
Hi, this is Alan. Thank you for your call. Please leave me a message. I may call you back.
Alan, this is Gary. We have a mutual acquaintance, Kevin, said I should speak to you about a certain investment opportunity, something to do with camp holidays. Anyway, call me back.